There's a number of key macroeconomic factors that are coming up this week, as well as we are seeing a bearish indicator for Bitcoin. We're going to talk about that in this video, basically what to look out for this week in crypto, in the crypto market. So this is your crypto news today. Make sure you guys hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Follow me on X if you're watching over there as well. Let's get into our video here. So Bitcoin just hit its first bearish signal since October of 2024. With key US data ahead, we are on edge right now in the crypto market. Basically, what we're seeing right now is we're facing a ton of uncertainty. And I've been talking about that in a number of videos. And really, that uncertainty translates to tariffs in the United States that President Trump is imposing, as well as inflation. Right, we're waiting on some key updates from the Fed this week. We'll talk about that as well as some dates to watch out for. So we're seeing some shaky ground right now. Bitcoin's struggling to regain that 100K mark. Investors are bracing for key economic data, and it really could dictate the next move for the market. January 20th, Bitcoin soared to 109K, coinciding with Donald Trump's inauguration. A lot of people were excited and very, very hopeful because of the pro-crypto presidency that was taking place. And then after that, we dropped about 11%, trading at right now 97K. So the latest tariff talk has added to the market volatility. A 25% blanket tariff on steel and aluminum imports is what's on the table, alongside with reciprocal tariffs on every country, basically, that he decides that he wants to tariff. A formal announcement is expected in the next couple of days to talk about, what really lies in these tariffs and what he's expecting to do with them. The 25% tariffs on imports from Canada and Mexico and 10% on the Chinese goods were also talked about. He did roll back the Canada and Mexico tariffs because Canada and Mexico were working with him to try and overcome some of the issues that he was facing with those countries. But the Chinese one, I do believe, is still on the table. So after that, it's somewhat stabilized after this temporary rollback of the tariffs marking. Markets are remaining very fragile from this, though. The MACD is showing, this is that key indicator we talked about. The MACD 2026 is a widely used momentum indicator. It's turned negative for the first time since October of 2024. So this measures the difference between two moving averages, the 12-day and the 26-day exponential moving average. This tracks momentum shifts, and the last time the MACD turned negative was back in April of 2024, stayed that way for about 6 months. We know that was kind of around the top of the market. That was when Bitcoin had its halving period, right? And it happened in April, and then Bitcoin fell from 64K in late April to about 49K at the bottom by August of 2024, which is a 23% decline before we saw the trend reversal. So this is a big week for economic data, like I mentioned, and let's talk about some of those dates that you guys are probably wanting to know about. Inflation numbers, labor market updates, and Federal Reserve signals are all set to drop this in the next few days. Potential to shift market sentiment, influence rate expectations, and dictate the next big move for riskier assets like crypto. Wednesday, February 12th, is when the CPI, or the Consumer Price Index, is coming out for January. CPI excludes the more volatile food and energy prices, but it's predicted to ease slightly from 3.1 to 3.2 in December. Month-to-month basis, the overall CPI is projected to dip to about 0.3% in January. Core CPI is believed to have risen 0.3 from the previous 0.2. So if the annual or the actual figure falls below these expectations, markets could price in an additional rate cut. And that's really what people are waiting for. They're waiting to hear what the data is from Fed Chair Powell so that we can kind of try and predict rate cuts for the rest of this year. Obviously, if we have rate cuts, it's going to be very beneficial for crypto. It's going to mean that inflation is easing. They're willing to cut some of the rate, or they're willing to reduce interest rates so that people will eventually have a little bit more money to spend, and that money flows that usually will flow into crypto. So that's noted to be a very positive thing for the cryptocurrency market. Fed Reserve Chair Jerome Powell, he testifies before Congress on February 11th and 12th. So that's going to be something that we're going to have to watch out for. This hearing is hosted by the Committee on Banking, Housing, and Urban Affairs, and it's part of the semi-annual monetary policy report that he gives to Congress, where Powell is going to address economic conditions, inflation, and interest rates. I'm getting really sick of talking about interest rates and inflation and Fed Chair Powell, but it is what it is, and this is a semi-annual event, so it's something that a lot of people are going to be paying attention to. So keep that on your radar as well. Thursday, February 13th, we're getting initial jobless claim report and the PPI as well, the producer price index. PPI data provides insight into wholesale inflation. So this is going to signal future consumer price trends, and this could potentially have an impact on the market as well. February 14th, the release of US retail sales figures. And consumer spending is a key driver of economic growth, right? A slowdown in retail sales could signal weakening economic conditions and potentially also influence rate cuts or hikes right on the other end. So, analyst Michael Vandepope, I follow this guy on X. He's a very extremely smart analyst, and he's been in the crypto space for a number of years. He remains firmly in the bullish camp, suggesting Bitcoin could test 105K this week and possibly break into new all-time highs before the month is over. Now, that is his optimism hinges on macro conditions aligning in Bitcoin's favor, right? So, if we get some good data from Chair Fed Chair Powell is what I'm trying to say. Chair Fed Powell, whatever I'm going to try and say here. But that's basically what he's thinking is going to happen if we get bullish news from Fed Chair Powell. So is that going to happen? Well, obviously we don't really know what is going to happen here because cryptocurrency, the Fed. Sometimes we get bullish news, in my opinion, from the Fed, and then Powell sounds like he's very not optimistic. So it really all comes down to what Powell is going to say in his speech, and especially when he's testifying to Congress, right? So we're gonna have to pay close attention to that and see basically what he says and find out if he's more dovish or hawkish, depending on the data that he provides us. So this is Bitcoin right now. This is Bitcoin over the last year. It is yeah, so we are still like we're still in an uptrend, guys. I know it might not feel like it. Alts definitely aren't you know cooperating the way we wanted, but this is definitely a pretty big week in crypto. We're going to see get a lot of news, especially from Trump regarding tariffs and steel and such, and hearing from the Fed as well. So hopefully we can kind of try and figure out where the Fed sits and potential rate cuts for the rest of this year. But obviously, we'll have to keep a key eye on some of these dates. So make sure you guys are locked in. I'm going to have some more updates later on in the week as things roll out, and I'll make sure to keep you guys aware of what's going on. I just want to thank you guys so much for tuning in. I really do appreciate it, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Peace.